Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Brian C. Dunn with coachingandlife.com. I'm here with Barrett Ladefoget, and we are all masked up. Well, at least I am all masked up. And so, yep, we've got the order that we're wearing masks whenever we go outside in my county, and in fact, all of LA County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County here in Southern California. I encourage you to do the same right now. Safety first. It's very important.
I don't understand when you say outside, so that does mean that once you're outside and you're meeting people, you're supposed to wear a mask?
Yep. Inside your house, I don't have to wear a mask. I just do it because I enjoy it. But as my brother said, you better brush your teeth before you wear your mask because, boy, these masks are unforgiving. Yeah, so when we're outside, when you're out in public, they want you to wear the masks. We're still shut down with, except for essential services, emergency services, and the like. But yeah, I'm self-quarantining, staying inside as much as possible unless I have to. And the only place I really need to go is the pharmacy to pick up medication that cannot be shipped. So other than that, I just stay right here. I'm learning some new recipes. And yesterday I made some spicy saltine crackers, and I've got some chickpeas soaking right now. I'm going to make some crunchy chickpeas. So that'll be nice. I'll let you all know about it next week. I've got some other recipes in the hopper as well.
Could you send us some or save us some so that we can test try them?
Maybe. I wonder if can we split the screen?
Yes, we can. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. You see, I've got my mask beard. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Holy smokes. My beard is all messed up. Normally, it's just normally messed up. Now it's mask messed up. I know, right? There we go. This way I've got both of us on here so I can see us both. Well, it's good to see all of you here with Barrett for the Wednesday webinar. And today I wanted to talk with you because while this is something that is very topical right now, it's something that is going to come into play in your business life, in your social life, and for the rest of your life. And that is how to recognize fake news stories, how to vet a story. There's so much. Barrett, you see this in Denmark the same as I see it here in the States. There are so many fake stories put out. There's so much misinformation put out. Do you see that a lot in your social media, Barrett?
Yes, we do. I think that one of the most troubled things that we're facing right now, it's facts and evidence. And I mean, right now, I do understand that people, when they're home, it's difficult to understand all this illness and what is it all about. And me personally, right now, moment in time, I don't even know one who has been contained. I only hear about it, and I listen to people, how awful it is. And I know that my husband is every day at the hospital. But I do understand that it is difficult. And I think that what it is, it's very difficult to sort in the different information we get. We get too much information. And that's why a little bit now you need to wear a mask going outside. Why? Has anyone explained that to you? Why? Or
yeah, we get a lot from, and I have to say I'm really pleased with our governor. I believe that our governor is really on top of his game. In fact, if you look around, I have to give most of the states props. Governor Cuomo in New York is really on top of his game. Unfortunately, I don't feel that we're getting it from the top, but I know that statewise in California, I'm pleased. We're getting the information out as they get the information, and we're doing our best to help each other. Yeah, in essence, we're just taking every precautionary measure we can in order to stop the spread. I've got two elderly parents and a grandparent living all together, and my big fear is that somebody's going to deliver something and be carrying this coronavirus with them. And because it's dormant, or it's not dormant, but you will be carrying it for at least 2 weeks without any symptoms, or you may be carrying it longer without symptoms. It's pretty scary stuff. And so we also have this sense of invulnerability as humans, you know, and if we don't see it right in front of us, we don't believe it, you know. And of course, when we, and of like I said, like I've said before, Barrett, when we hear one thing, when our leaders are saying it's not a problem, it'll be gone in a few days, hardly anybody is going to catch this, it's going to move along, it's a hoax, and then a few days later, hundreds of people have it, and then thousands of people have it. We have this cognitive dissonance there, and so what we expect is not what we see, and so they don't mesh, and then we wind up kind of going into crisis. And you know, not everybody has access to reaching out to you or me to get some coaching, and so instead what they do is they jump on Facebook and they jump on other social media and they call their friends and they go with little tidbits of what they read. And a lot of times what we're reading is just wrong. It's made up. It comes from a biased source. And so today I thought it'd be nice to kind of give a list of how to really get through fake news and how to have a better chance of deciphering it. Like for me personally, I've had to deal with it for years because my dad is notorious for passing along fake news, fake memes. He gets on Facebook, he only reads like the headline and then shoots it out. I'm like, Pop, you realize this was from 1982. This has no more bearing. You know, it's like, you know, my dad, well, you know, the Dust Bowl, I'm like, Pop, you know, that was, you know, 100 years ago. And so, you know, so I've got to keep him reined in. But I know a lot of people, a lot of younger people are equally as guilty of spreading misinformation. And it's really a shame because what that does is that, number one, it builds contempt for the mainstream media. And not that our mainstream media is perfect, but they give the majority of it, you can fact check it. And when they do mess up, you can fact check it. Unlike other sources that will lie straight to your face and tell you, yeah, big deal, right?
I think that there's a huge challenge with the coronavirus is that many people or many leaders today, they steer and navigate and then they change direction and then they steer and navigate in another direction and then they do and fit the speech what it is that they want to say for the moment, and it doesn't matter what they say, they just jump on and are smart in the moment, and there's no consistency in the approach. And I think that when we speak about the coronavirus needs consistency.
Absolutely.
And we need to find out how to break that chain. And I mean, it's so funny, for years now we've been running through curves that needs to go up, more sales, more, faster and faster. Now we want the curve to go down. We want things to slow. We've been talking about keeping the chain. We need to keep the chain. Now we're speaking about breaking the chain.
Isn't it ironic?
I
think the chain gets broken for us. But, you know, I'm glad you mentioned that, how our politicians in particular are steering this in ways that are going to benefit them and benefit their shareholders. Because I can almost guarantee you that medications that are promoted, probably a lot of these politicians have investments in. And it doesn't matter if you die as long as the stocks go up. Yes, this is the cynical me right now. And normally I'm very optimistic, but I'm not in this circumstance. But I'm going to tell you something, Barrett. This isn't just about the coronavirus, because this is kind of where the years of social media and, you know, actually we can even go back. The Inquirer, the Star, the tabloids. I don't know about, you know, what the Sun is like in England. I don't know if that's a tabloid. I don't know if you have tabloids in Denmark. But these stories, which may have been satire or humorous at one point, as time went on, started to gain validity. When people started looking at the Weekly World News with the Bat Boy and then giving it credibility, then we started having problems than with reality TV setting in and people accepting that as the gospel, how reality is. And I tell this to my clients all the time, is that we are not geared to be so hyper reactive. You know, in our existence, when I was a teacher, I'll just back up. But when I was a teacher, there was a year that things just started getting real wacky. And the kids' reactions, they would be super melodramatic. And when things were good, they'd be way up here. When things were bad, they were way down here. But little things would be it. You know, they got $10 for their birthday, super excited. And then they got something minor would happen and they would be way down. And I couldn't figure out why it was so extreme. And then one day I was in my room during my prep period. I'd pop the TV on, which I never really did because I don't really watch TV. And Jerry Springer was on, which tells you how long ago
That was, yes.
this was. And I was listening to this in the background while I was doing some work, and it dawned on me, this entertainment was what was pervasive, and the students were reacting that way. And when you look at you look at The Bachelor, you look at Keeping Up with the Kardashians, you look at all these other reality shows, and it's all melodrama. The average person takes that, they absorb it, they don't realize it, and then they blow everything out of proportion. Our lives are really kind of like this. They're very simple. You know, we have a birthday, yay, that's good. We have a funeral, that's pretty sad. It comes back up. We're content most of the time. So I think that once we got social media, people really had to outdo themselves. But the satire and the ridiculousness of it started to become accepted. And in fact, there have been a lot of news stories that get grabbed by numbskulls like Alex Jones that get warped and twisted and used as real news. And then people believe it. So, you know, I don't know how you view social media or when you see a story, what you do. I know that for me, number one, I don't go with the headline. I mean, you know, what are headlines doing? They're grabbing hold of you, right? It's like, oh yeah, you know, Obama was an alien love child of the Loch Ness Monster and Sasquatch. I don't think that's true, right? But we grab that headline, and a lot of people, even as crazy as it sounds, what do? They post it again. I knew it. I knew he wasn't born here. Now obviously I'm using hyperbole, exaggeration to make a point, but people do that. They just read the headlines. And even in
But then again, if you think about it, I mean, this is not only a Facebook, this is a Google thing. And we think that the world that we live in, what we have, just pushed each other, been more and more hyper. And it's all caused by the social media. And one of the biggest drivers of that has been Google, with the way that they put the attention on the fact that they have been able to get everybody to load a website and everybody go online and you can find anything, happiness, blah, blah. And it just, you can't breathe. And now they have so many trillion, billions, trillions pages that they need to sort out, and they now need.
Is that a real number? Is that a Danish number?
It could be.
Okay, just go with it. That's right. Well, you're right, the sensationalism. So here's our position, Barrett. That's not going to change. So what can you do? What can I do to determine and help decipher what is real versus what is fake? And the first thing is always look past the headlines, because even places like National Geographic, who you would expect to put out good stories, will use those hook headlines, which are not. What you got there? Is that a mushroom?
That's a marshmallow.
A marshmallow. Oh my God. Look at it. In Denmark, they're having marshmallows. That's all they can afford to eat now. Yeah. That's right. Just marshmallows. So, even they'll make it an incendiary statement, something that gets people going, and then they will, in the body of the text, tell the complete opposite. So
Yeah.
read past the headline to get more information. Number two, check where it's coming from.
Oh yeah.
Always check where it's coming from, and be careful, because you may look up Johns Hopkins for coronavirus information, johnshopkins.com, yet you may come across a site that you don't realize is johnhopkins.com, which is just a difference of an S, or johnshopkins.com.co. So be very aware when you see information that seems like it may be unreal. Even if you're not sure, take a look at that website, because little things, they will take the name of an outlet and they will change it just enough. So most people looking at it on their face, they don't really notice it. And I've read things going, I can't believe this is from this reputable source. abcnews.com.co. When you look at it closer, it's like, why does that .com.co? Why? That's not a real news site. That's not ABC News. And don't misunderstand. Even the mainstream media, I follow through on. I like independent media, and since we have the internet, we have access to the independent media. But also be careful there, because you want to take a look at who published it, who's the author, what is their bias. Their bias is going to be real important, because there are websites that are strictly conservative websites. There are websites that are strictly liberal websites. They have those biases. And I'm okay with a website that has a bias, as long as I know if they're purporting to be, even-handed or real news right down the middle, and they're a left-leaning site or a right-leaning site, then I've got a problem when they misrepresent that. No, if it's a Fox News and they're conservative, at least I know where they're coming from. If it's an NPR and I know it's more liberal, at least I know where it's coming from. Also, if you wind up with some oddball, conspiracy, site, you want to know that. Who's the author? What has the author done? If it seems like it's not that legit, do your research on the author. We have Google. We can do that. Also, take a look for quotes that might be questionable, resources that might be questionable, because, and I had an experience with this years ago. I was interviewed by the local newspaper about saying the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. And they took what I had to say and they cut just enough of it to make it fit their narrative, yet it did not convey where I was coming from. And so, when I talked to people that had read it, they're like, they were angry with me or they were confused by my position. I said, well, you don't know the entire context of it. So be aware. Also, if you see ellipses, those little dots right in the middle of a sentence, that means they've cut something out. We saw that actually in the Mueller report when they gave the redacted one. They're like, and then so-and-so did ... this. It was like, wait a minute, something's missing there. So they're not telling you something. So be aware of that. Now, that's not always the case that they are hiding something from you, but if all these other things are adding up, chances are they're not giving you the whole story. Sometimes they use it just to condense the idea that they're trying to convey in a normal story. That's fair, but be aware when these other things are popping up.
I think that what it is, especially with news, like it right now is stressful times. And I mean, no one knows that any better than we do. And I mean, it has experienced as well how important it'll be now to have good attorneys, to have a good lawyer, to understand the situation that you're putting yourself through. I think that it's never been more important that you come together and find reason in what it is that you're seeking. It's the reason. It doesn't matter if somebody writes something and it might not be 100% accurate. It's the reason and the angle of reason, how it can support something doing you and helping you improve being better. I think that all the scammers that are just out there to hack you and take your money and work smart. And I mean, I think that also many of these multi-billion-dollar corporations, not saying that I don't, but I mean, when people take advantage of the system, they take advantage of something. That's probably, I also hope, some of the things that the coronavirus will now bring to the surface. You will see the truth and the validation. And it's not only the news. And I mean, where we stand today, we created, we're here because of what we did. It didn't just happen.
Absolutely. And Barrett, like you're saying, be aware of those. We can turn your stimulus check into $1 million. We can help you do this. And a lot of these places seem fairly reputable.
Oh, yes.
And so be aware, also do your research. You've got the internet. You can look things up. There are things that pop up online, whether it be these things that Barrett is talking about, whether it be news articles that people are pushing. You can do the research. And if you can't find any other resource than what they have, chances are it's not factual. Also, be aware of your own biases. Do you want to believe this? A lot of times, I know that there are a lot of people that will push a story with no evidence because they want to believe it. That's called confirmation bias. I've decided what I want to believe first, and then I will create the evidence to support that. And there's a lot of sites out there. In fact, I've got a list of them that you can do research to check out for. Let's see here, and we'll put this up in the comment section or in the description of this video. Snopes.com, Melissa Zimdar's list of fake news sites, factcheck.org, TinEye reverse image search, Washington Post fact checker. There are a lot of fact checking sites, and if you do just a simple 5-minute search, you can determine whether that information is factual or not. And then last but not least, and this goes for everything that you do, think about it before you share it. Is this going to benefit us? Is this going to cause a rift? Is this going to cause a problem? I had a friend of mine from Facebook send something that was not very flattering about a particular belief that I have. And he sent it as a joke. And I replied with, I believe this. And to his credit, he said, I'm sorry, I would never want to offend you. I would never want to hurt you. But it's that quick to react. I'm just going to forward this meme or forward this joke, even though you don't always know. Like I said, to his credit, he stepped up and said, I would never want to hurt you or upset you. And I told him, you're right, you don't, because I will cry really hard and you'll have to hold me, and I'm an ugly crier. So, ugly crier, Barrett. So don't make me cry.
I'll try not to.
Good. So those are just some ideas, but Barrett, I don't know if you have the same expression in Denmark, buyer beware.
Buyer beware, yes.
Buyer beware. And that goes for not only somebody trying to sell you a used car, but also the news that we have. Check your resources. If the person or the organization is notorious for lying, I have less credibility for them. And do your research. You've got the internet there. There's no reason not to. I can't tell you how many times people post something, I do the research, and then I post links to why what they posted was wrong. And you know what the kicker is? People don't care.
And they don't. And I think that what we have to think about is that people don't put up all these fake news because they like the fake news. They do it to get the 1-minute attention, the spotlight, what it is that, in power. I mean, once you really need to help people. I saw a quote today where it said, some people share their success. Some people make the success. I like that one. I mean, and I mean, that's what I'm going to post tomorrow about us is that exactly some people share the success, we make the success.
That's right.
And I think that you have to understand, especially with the news, on what side are you? Are you on the side where you're actually trying to help people, where you're trying to live a happy life, where you're smiling, or are you on that side where it's about creating something that gives people attention of, I would almost say wannabes, but I mean, that's, I know that that is tough words. But having said that, I think
I don't mind using tough words for stupid people.
you don't.
I don't mind. Wannabes, sensationalists, people that have nothing else going for them other than trying to rile others up because of their own insecurities, when they could easily reach out and lift people up like the tide and lift everybody up together instead of chipping away and bringing people down with lies and deceit.
But I think that I think that a little bit that's where we are right now, Brian. I think that the treat from coronavirus is that things are actually the opposite. Now we are in stressful times and people show the best sides they have. We've had good times and we've seen the worst in people. We have companies like Facebook and Google. We have large companies. I especially know one company. I mean, in the best times where they have made so much money, we saw the ugliest behavior. Now they're in a time where they may not even survive, and they depend upon how things will go for the future. And it's probably not going to be the same because this is going to bring along a lot of changes.
You know what, Barrett?
Yeah.
I think we should end on that. And what you said is very sage. It's very wise, and that is, you know, we're having to kind of pull back,
Mm-hmm.
and in the end, it's up to us. You know, we can release the reins from the big corporations because we have to rely on each other now. We have to rely on our neighbors and our loved ones to make sure that we are okay, that we are safe, that we get what we need. And I think that's the most important thing. So buyer beware. Don't believe everything you hear. My dear old dad used to say, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. Unfortunately, you can't believe none of what you see anymore. So Bear, thank you for a good, stimulating conversation today and letting me get this out there. And you guys, thank you for joining us again. And we'll see you next Wednesday, same time, same place, where I think we will talk about the good things that we can take from what's going on right now. I won't see the benefits or the treats of the coronavirus, but the good things that we will be able to take from this situation. Any last words, Barrett? All right. Thank you guys for being here. Head on over to coachingandlife.com. Check out our forums at coachingandlife.com. We have the Corona virus forum, which you can share your thoughts and ideas. All your information is protected, and you'll be able to interact with like-minded people. And check out the video that we have there on coping with the coronavirus, different techniques and strategies for working from home, for dealing with the anxiety, for having the right mindset, building habits. So until we meet again, everybody, inhale relaxation, exhale tension, and be well.